Yeah, so not taking your more time, we will be starting with our session today. So this session is uh, a live webinar for competitive programming and hackathons. We will be talking what is competitive programming, what are hackathons, how to start with the flow and everything. And we will also be sharing our experience. So I myself, Mihir Gada, I am co-founder of Synergy and I have won two hackathons, and with me, my friend and our speaker, Kaustubh Damania. He is a former CSI tech head. CSI is Computer Society of India. His highest CodeChef rating is 4 star, and he has also won three hackathons, which include two major national level hackathon and one a code adventure, which was a state level hackathon.
Hello,
So yeah,
guys.
so in today's session, we will be speaking about competitive programming and hackathon, which Mihir, and Kaustubh will take. So before starting the session, I would like to speak about Synergy. We have also conducted few sessions and courses, which include front-end web development course, back-end development using Flask course, resume making session, and Git and GitHub workshop. We are also going to conduct few workshops in future, which I will be speaking at the end. So starting with today's session. In today's session, we will be speaking about what is competitive programming, which is commonly known as CP, why you should do it. Okay, then how you should get started with CP. We will be providing you with complete flow, that how to start coding, like which are various platforms, which are preferable languages for competitive programming and coding. So what you should do during CP and what you should avoid during your CP. After then, we will be speaking about hackathons, how to participate in hackathon, what are hackathons basically, what are various tips and strategies from your hackathons to win an hackathon. Then, what do you get from after participating in an hackathon? In between, we will also be sharing our experience as me and Kaustubh have participated in, I guess, 2 to 3 hackathons together, and like we do all our projects together and everything. So we know that we have worked together as a team. So we have too many experiences. So we will be sharing those experiences, and I will also be talking about the course which we are going to take in the coming week. That will be helpful for your curriculum and for competitive programming. And at the end, we will take all your doubts which have not been addressed during a session. So now to Kaustubh, starting with competitive programming. He is a 4 star code chef coder, and he will be providing you and guide you through complete flow of competitive programming. So yeah, to Kaustubh.
Uh, hey, guys. So, a little bit about me. I didn't have programming experience until my first year. So, I didn't have programming in my school or college. So, in first year only, I started learning programming. And I started with C, C++, and gradually I moved on to other languages. So, first I'll talk about what is competitive programming in general. So, competitive programming is a sport uh, in which you have to solve problems by writing code. So, what do I mean by that? Let's say a problem is something like given an integer n, compute its factorial, n factorial. So, you will write code which will take like an integer input and it will output the n factorial, and so you will write code which solves that problem. So in competitive programming, there are like online judges in which you submit your program and your program is run against test cases. So these test cases are like different inputs on which your code will run. So it can, for the problem of factorial, it can be something like n is equal to 5, 6, something like that, and the output will be respectively 120, 720, and so on. So that is the overall gist of what is competitive programming. And so yeah, there are questions and you have to solve those questions. And if you are participating in a competitive programming contest, then you have like a time limit. Like you have a stipulated time limit of 3 hours, or let's say 2 hours, and you have given like 4 to 5 questions and you have to solve them. So the first question what you might be thinking is like, why should I do competitive programming, right? Because you must be thinking like, what is the use of competitive programming? So before I answer that, I'll talk about my experience, like why did I start competitive programming. So It was actually I had learned C programming during my vacation after 12th standard. So it was just to get familiar with what is programming, and I had just learned the syntax, and I was not very good with it. So I decided to solve some problems on HackerRank just to get a basic understanding of how C and C works, C and also C++. Both of them are quite similar actually. So I was just solving the problems and just getting a hold of the syntax, and I realized that I actually like solving those problems on HackerRank. So it's the problems are quite fun, and you also like to like the satisfaction you get after solving a tough problem is unparalleled. So it was so that's why I continued doing competitive programming, because I like to solve problems, and also our college syllabus is very boring, so I had actually had a lot of free time to do competitive programming. So yeah, the main reasons is like to get used to the syntax of programming language. So if you're a beginner, I would definitely recommend to start with competitive programming to strengthen your DSA and problem solving skills. So DSA is short for data structures algorithms, and problem solving skills. So by solving these problems, you definitely improve your problem solving skills. So what I would say is like problem solving is like the most important skill which you can possess if you're in the computer science field or any other field, because at the end of the day, if you're working somewhere, then if you're like working on anything, and at the end of the day you're solving problems, right? Like if you're working in research, then you have different type of problem, and if you're working as software engineer or a data scientist or something, then you have different sets of problem. But at the end of the day, you're just solving problems, right? And that's what you're paid to do. And if actually many companies like Google, Facebook, and these people need exceptional problem solvers, and that's why actually people prefer companies prefer the coders who have competitive programming experience. So I guess there was this question which was asked in a Google form, like why do companies prefer people with competitive programming experience? So I feel this is the answer to that question. Like problem solving is something which companies look out for. So to improve debugging skills, this is also another valuable skill. Like if you're a software engineer, you will be debugging code all the time. So if you're participating in a short contest, then you will write code, and the code might not work. So you will have to debug that code as well, and you have to do it quickly. So you will improve your debugging skills as well. And this you all must be knowing, like the coding test for internship and jobs are CP style contests. So if you may have like applied for internship or job somewhere, you must be knowing that the very first round of is a competitive programming style contest. So you're given like 2-3 questions and an hour or two to solve, and they're kind of like a competitive programming environment only. So yeah, if you want to clear those tests, then it is it is recommended that you have some sort of competitive programming experience. Like in my opinion, I had a lot of competitive programming experience, so it was easy for me to clear those coding tests the first round.
You can give
So
the best example of Morgan Stanley that you cleared both the coding rounds of uh, Morgan Stanley.
yeah, yeah. So Morgan Stanley, they had come in our campus twice, both the times for internships, once in third and fourth year, and like I managed to clear both the times. I managed to clear the coding round easily because I had a lot of competitive programming experience. So that's there, and so to get recognized, if you're from a tier 3 college, so let's like if you have to apply for off campus for some internship or a company, then you may feel that you're at a disadvantage because of your tier 3 tag, maybe because companies mostly look out for IITs and NITs. They have a tag, right? So if you want to create your own portfolio or you want to create your own identity, then competitive programming can create an identity for you. So if I have to apply somewhere, I can say that I have this CodeChef profile and I'm this good at competitive programming, and it is like my identity. I can also say that I've won hackathons, and that is also a part of my portfolio. So if you want to build your portfolio, then it is a very good way to build your portfolio. And the main reason is to just solve problems for fun, because that's like the main motivation. If you like solving problems, you will do competitive programming.
I
Next
would
slide,
like
please.
to add,
Uh,
yeah, so as Kaustubh said in start, that the college syllabus is boring, that is why he did competitive programming. But to be frank, most of the competitive programmers have 6 pointer, 7 pointer. But Kaustubh, being despite of doing competitive programming every day, he has an average pointer of 8.5 plus. And along with that, because of competitive programming, he has two job offers. One he got on campus, and he has also cracked an off-campus job offer just based on his competitive programming skills.
Yeah, and actually, like for if you're going for like if you're going for jobs, then like competitive programming you can do and you can create your own portfolio. And if you're going, if you want to get noticed by some company, then competitive programming is a good way to get noticed.
Yeah.
So, what language should you choose if you're going starting with competitive programming? So, I would say you can choose any language because most of the online judges have a list of options. So, they even have languages like JavaScript, PHP, and Go, and so on. But I would recommend to go with the top three languages, that is C or C++, Java, and Python. So, I had started with C++ and I mostly use C++ only. Sometimes I use Python to solve some easy questions because of its shorter syntax and code. But mostly I use C and C++, and the reason is like this. So most of the competitive programmers you will notice use C or C++ only. Like I would say around 90% programmers use C or C++, and you can also
More of
go
C++,
with
I
Java.
guess, right?
Yeah, more of C++. And the main reason is like C++ has all the inbuilt data structures and algorithms, so you don't have to like reinvent the wheel if you're writing some code, let's say to like sort a number or any other functionality like for binary search. If you need some algorithms, then C++ has those inbuilt in this library. And another reason is its speed. So as I said, in competitive programming you write code, but that code should also be fast. So there is a time limit for each question. So like time limit most of the times it's like 1 second. So it means that your all the sub test cases should run within 1 second. And this is where C++ rocks because C++ is very fast compared to Java, Python. So if you write code in C++, then it will definitely pass if the algorithm is proper. But sometimes it happens that even if your algorithm is optimized, but since you're using something like Java or Python, your code might not pass within the time limit. So like this is one of the reasons why mostly people use C++. But if you're a beginner and if you're solving like easy questions or something, then I don't think you can go wrong with either of the three languages.
Yeah.
So what platforms on which, so what are the platforms? So there are various platforms like CodeChef, CodeForces, HackerRank, and HackerEarth, and there are also a few platforms like Geeks for Geeks and InterviewBit and LeetCode, but they're mostly for interview prep stuff. But if you're going for hardcore competitive programming, then I would recommend CodeChef and CodeForces, mostly CodeForces. And yeah, so these are quite platforms on which you can practice competitive programming and participate in contests. So some of these websites have like weekly contests, and you can participate in them. And this contest, like people from all over the world participate in these contests.
Kaustubh, I would like to ask you a question. It is a most, generally asked question that
Yeah.
how, like, what is difference between competitive programming questions and the questions which are asked in interview? I mean, what is the similarity and how a competitive programming knowledge and base helps you to crack those interview questions?
So I would say interview questions are a little bit different from competitive programming questions in a way that questions are mostly typical. So like there are questions on linked list, stack, queue, and there are questions on typical data structures. And in interview questions are mainly designed so that the interviewee can explain he or she can explain the logic behind the question clearly, and there are also few restrictions on like space complexity or something. So the interviewer might ask you to code this problem in O of 1 space or O of n space, but in competitive programming there is no restriction as such. And I would say that if you are writing in competitive programming, you have to write code. And interview questions are mostly on whether you can solve the question or not. Most of the times you need to write code as well, but that is like secondary. The primary thing is to solve the problem.
Okay. So basically, if you have knowledge and a bit of practice of competitive programming, it gives you the knack to solve any problem or something, right?
Yeah, like I would say competitive programming problems are tougher than interview problems because of the fact that in competitive programming you also have to optimize your code, and you have to like write a code which passes within the test which passes all the test cases. And in interview the interviewer won't just like test your code or something. He will just see if your approach is correct, and he will grade you according to your approach.
Yeah.
So how to start with competitive programming? So what I would suggest, and this is kind of the flow which I took when I began with competitive programming. So first is the step zero, that is to learn the basics of the programming language, because you need to be good with at least one programming language, so that it shouldn't happen that during a contest you don't know the syntax, and due to the syntax you couldn't solve that question. It shouldn't happen. So I would suggest to learn the programming language first, learn its syntax, how the basic statements work, how to take input output from console and stuff like that. And I would also suggest to learn about time and space complexities of algorithms. So I won't go into too much depth about what's time and space complexity, but I can just give a basic example. So let's say you're writing a program to calculate n factorial. So what is n factorial? It is basically what 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 up to n. It is like the product of first n natural numbers, right? So if you're writing code, then you will require n iterations, right? So you will iterate from 1 to n and you will multiply each of them. So you require like n iterations, right? So I can say that the time taken to solve the problem is directly proportional to n. So I can say that the time complexity is directly proportional to n. So if your n is increasing, then your time taken is also increasing. So I can say that it's an O of n algorithm. So yeah, so your code, the code that you're writing, and if it passes or not, that depends on the time complexity of the algorithm that you choose.
So basically, in easier words, if your code is faster, it will be, it will pass easily. But for example, if you want to go to a place, you have a straight line or you have a curvy road. So it depends on you how you solve a problem. If you solve a problem with
Yes.
a straight line or you solve a problem with a curvy road.
That's actually a very nice analogy. If you it doesn't matter if your code is fast, as if the code time limit is, let's say the time limit is 1 second, and if your code is taking 0.99 seconds, or if it's taking 0.01 seconds, both the code will give you the correct answer. So, the code should basically, the time of the code should be
Satisfy
within
the
the
time
time
limit.
limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be below the time limit. So, so you should know about time and space complexity. Just a basic knowledge is fine. And then I would suggest to solve easy level problems on HackerRank under the problem solving section. So this is what I had done. So before starting with the problem solving section, there is this thing on HackerRank which is known as 30 days of code. So this 30 days of code is something which is like you are given 30 tasks. So yeah, you can see on the left there are many tasks, right? Data types, operators. So you can solve these if you are just starting with programming, and you can get to know about the language that you want to use. So after that, I started with problem solving section under HackerRank, and I started solving easy problems. Then after solving the easy problems, I got to know like how to take the input output and how the input output format works, and how to write code which gives you the correct answer. So that's the basics which you learn. And HackerRank has a very friendly interface, I would say, and that's why I recommend HackerRank, because HackerRank also has an inbuilt IDE, and so yeah, so it is quite beginner friendly, I would say.
You
Otherwise,
can see the HackerRank UI here. Like you have various problems here. Like if you want to learn any language from start, you can just go to HackerRank. It will start from hello world, how to print statement, how to learn operators. And as Kaustubh said that you want to learn about time and space complexities, but when you start coding now, automatically, if you start understanding how these codes work, automatically you will learn about time and space complexity.
yeah, that's correct. So after if you can solve easy problems comfortably, then I would recommend to participate in CodeChef long challenges. So what are CodeChef long challenges? It is a competition which takes place on CodeChef, which is another competitive programming website. And this long challenge is it is a 10-day challenge. So you're given 10 days and you're given like 7 to 10 problems that varies from, and it is a monthly contest. So it happens once in a month. So you are given 10 days. So the best part about this is that you can learn the prerequisites you need to solve a problem. So let's say you're stuck in a problem and you don't know how to go about it, or you know how to go about it, but your code which you have written is not efficient enough. You want to improve it by using maybe a new algorithm, or you need some optimization. So the best part about this is that you have 10 days. So you can comfortably use Google, or you can refer some other books that you want, and you can just sit and debug and learn something if you don't know that to solve the problem. And this way you can actually learn a lot of stuff. So like I've learned a lot of concepts through long challenge, through participating in this 10-day long challenge. And so yeah, so I would recommend a beginner to after he or she can solve easy problems. I would recommend to start with long challenges, and so the first 2 or 3 problems are very easy, so you can solve them easily. And once you can solve more than 3 problems on long challenge, I would recommend to start with short contests. So as I said, short contests are generally 2 to 3 hours long, and you have 4 to 5 questions. And these short contests happen on CodeChef Codeforces, and Codeforces have a weekly frequency. So in a week you might have one contest, but in CodeChef you have, in a month you only have like 2 short contests. So yeah, you can participate in the short contest once you're comfortable with long challenges, because you need to write code fast as well. You need that speed, and that speed you will only get from participating in short contests. And so yeah, after you can solve like more than 5 problems in long challenge, I would suggest to just participate in short contest and not long. The reason behind that is that you can actually learn a lot of stuff from short contest, because it happens quickly. You don't have to like wait 10 days to get the solution or editorial. So yeah, what is an editorial? It is a So the problem setters who created the problems also publish the editorials after the contest is over, in which the problem solution is explained along with the code. So it generally comes after the contest. So I would recommend, after you participated in a contest, you read the editorials, and after reading the editorials, you will get to learn the new approaches to solve a problem. Or if there's a problem you couldn't solve in a contest, then you'll get to learn that approach as well. And I would also recommend to solve those problems. Uh, so let's say you participated in a short contest and you solve only 2 problems out of 5. So I would recommend to open the editorial for the third problem, read it, and then implement it. So this is known as upsolving. And by upsolving, you will actually improve, because you're attempting the tougher problems which you couldn't solve in a contest. So it's not like you're going into medium section or hard section and solving it. You're actually attempting those problems which you couldn't solve. And this way you're improving your skills. Next slide. Yeah, so from where to start, I would recommend HackerRank because of its interface. And once you're familiar with, once you can solve like easy problems, I would recommend to go on CodeChef Codeforces. And on CodeChef Codeforces, you can either participate in contest, or you can just choose any problem and solve it from either a past contest or the ones in the archive. So this is the right side is a CodeChef long challenges interface. So like as I said, there are like around 10 in this there are 8 problems, and you're given 10 days to solve that.
Yeah, you can tell about the division 1 and 2 thing also.
Okay, so yeah, in competitive programming, there is also this thing known as rating. So this rating is a relative index of how good you are with respect to the overall competition. So like there are also stars, or you can call them tiers. So there is like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. On CodeChef there is a star system, and on Codeforces you have something like colors. So you have like red is the topmost level. So like the red coders are the ones who are most experienced, and they are like legends. You can call them legends. And in CodeChef you have stars. So you have 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, and it's up to 7 stars. So there are separate contests for separate divisions, and a division is like in CodeChef 1, 2, 3 stars people come under division 2, and 4, 5, 6, 7 star people come under division 1. So these people have a separate contest, division 1 and 2, and division 1 people usually have tougher problems, obviously, because they're good, and division 2 people have beginner level problems and some advanced level problems as well. So, what are the do's and don'ts of competitive programming? I participate in contests, especially short contests. So, yeah, you should definitely participate in contests. You shouldn't think about rating much. Like this is also I've mentioned in the don'ts. So what people do I've seen is that people just participate in long challenges and they won't participate in short contests because they fear that their rating will get reduced in a short contest. But that is not true because like your rating is something which is temporary. You shouldn't care about rating so much. Rather, you should care about learning new stuff and improving yourself. So this is what I recommend. So I would recommend to participate in short contests as well. But like once you're good enough for short contests, I would recommend to participate in them and to absolve, read editorials, and consistently improving. So in competitive programming, there is no shortcut to improve in competitive programming. It's more about the practice. Like if you practice hard, then you will definitely improve, and that is the only key to improve in competitive programming. So there are a lot of people who are like the legends, as I said, the 7-star people, the red coders. So these people are people who have like 7 to 10 years of competitive programming experience. So that's why the reason that they're so good is because they have practiced a lot, and they have also prepped for other competitions like ICPC or IOI, which I will mention in the later slide. So yeah, another thing is to identify your weaknesses and work on it. So let's say you're weak in some type of algorithm. Let's say you're weak in dynamic programming. So dynamic programming is a type of algorithm or a method to solve problems. And let's say you're bad at DP or dynamic programming algorithms. So you should identify that and you should work on it. So what you can do is you can solve dynamic programming problems more and just to get a hang of it, and you should try to identify your weaknesses and improve it. And also in don'ts, the main thing is cheating in a contest. So like I said, people care about ratings, so they try to cheat, and this is something I would never recommend because cheating is cheating will give you a temporary satisfaction, but then on the longer run you're only hurting yourself, and you're also hurting the people who have worked hard during the contest and who gave the contest honestly.
Stack
So
Overflow का
and
example
even
दे सकता है.
yeah, so there are many people, like as I said, long challenge is a 10-day challenge, right? So there are many people who just ask the long challenge questions on Stack Overflow, and some people answer them because they don't know that it's from an ongoing contest. So so that way I think like a lot of people cheat also on long challenges, but they don't do that much on short contests because the time is very less. So even if they ask a question, the question would be answered so quickly. So yeah, if you're cheating also, and let's say you're cheating to get a rating, like let's say your reason is to get a shortlisted by a company, then even if you do that, and if you get shortlisted too, then on the interview day, the interviewer will definitely know that you're cheating, no matter if you're a 7-star coder or a 5-star coder. Next slide.
Yeah.
So the CP competitions which I to look out for. So as I said earlier, ACM ICPC. So what is ACM ICPC? Like as I said, competitive programming is a sport. Then ACM ICPC is the Olympics of that sport. So it is a like a tournament, I would say, or it is a worldwide contest wherein people represent their colleges and they participate in it. So it's like a team. You make a team of 3 and you represent your college, and there are like various rounds in this. So there are regional rounds. First there's a qualifier round, then there's a regional round, and a regional round is on site. So the regional round is mostly national level, and after that there's a finals. So the final is something which happens on a global scale. It is an international level contest, and people from all colleges come to participate. So there are colleges like IIT, and there are other colleges also like the prestigious Stanford, MIT, and all of those people also come, and the top 3 get medals like gold, silver, bronze. So this is a very prestigious contest, and people participate in this, and people like prep for this also, and they make it like in India. People mostly make it to regionals, and there are like in India people there are like at least 4 to 5 teams who make to the finals, and in finals generally there are 100 teams. So there are like 4 to 5 teams from India, and they are mostly from IITs or some other college like Triple IT Hyderabad, those from tier 1 colleges. So Yeah, so ACM ICPC is a very prestigious competition, and if you can even make it to the regionals, then you can put it on a resume, and that will be a very like it will be a very good point, and the recruiter or a interviewer will be impressed by it, or whoever looks at your resume will be impressed by it. Also, there are other competitions like Google Code Jam, Facebook Hacker Cup, another Google Kickstart. So these are competitions which are conducted by Google and Facebook it's just a normal competitive programming competition. And if you perform good in it, there are chances that you will get contacted by these companies for interviews. So yeah, if your competitive programming skills are good, and if you get a good rank in this platform, like let's say you get a top 5 percentile rank, then you will definitely get a top 5, or I would say for these companies it's like top 2 percentile. And if you get a top 2 percentile rank, then you will definitely get a interview call from Google or Facebook.
कौस्तुभ वो ताइवान वाले बंदे का एग्जांपल दे सकता है ना वो ही इज डूइंग
अच्छा हाँ,
कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोग्रामिंग या पता ना क्या
yeah,
था वो?
so so there's this guy known as William Lin, and he's from Taiwan. So he's now in first year of engineering, and he's right now in MIT. So this guy this guy has 10 years of competitive programming experience, and he's also 7-star on CodeChef and Red on Codeforces. So he's an elite level programmer because he has he has 10 years of competitive programming experience. And also there is this competition which is International Olympiad for Informatics. So it is like a Olympiad, like there is Olympiad for physics, chemistry, maths, right? Similarly, there's a Olympiad for programming for school level students. So this guy William Lin, he prepped for Olympiad as well, and he also has like a silver or bronze medal. I don't remember. So yeah, so he had also prepped for this, and he has a lot of experience. And with that experience, he got into MIT, which is like the most prestigious college in the world, I would say.
Yeah. Kostubh, there is some noise in your background.
Oh yeah, I know. There are firecrackers blowing outside.
Yeah, so you can continue.
Yeah, okay, cool. So resources, just in case you're stuck or you want to learn something. So as I said, there is this platform known as Geeks for Geeks. It is mostly for interview prep, but there are a lot of archives, or there are blogs which is written by people for algorithms or some data structure. So let's say if you want to learn something like binary search, so you can just Google binary search Geeks for Geeks, and you will get an article of Geeks for Geeks, and you will there also will be the approach and the code. So Geeks for Geeks is a good way to learn some new concept which you haven't learned before. Similarly, there's another website known as cpalgorithms.com, and there are various tutorials by HackerEarth and Codeforces. So these both websites have blogs. So in these blogs, people post tutorials to learn something, or people just ask generic doubts like how to solve this problem in this time complexity, stuff like that. And so yeah, you actually get to learn a lot from these, because these blogs are like the participants in these blogs are generally high-rated coders, or and they share their approach as to how to solve these questions, and you actually get to learn a lot from them. So I would recommend to use these resources in case you're stuck. And for the syntax stuff, you can use Tutorials Point. And there is this book known as Competitive Programming Handbook. So it contains a lot of stuff that you need to know for competitive programming. So there are like algorithms, like there are a lot of algorithms which are generally seen in a competitive programming contest, or some data structures that you might need to solve a problem. So
after the session, we are going to share this book with you. So all of you who have registered will get this competitive programming handbook from Synergy.